Good day, students, and welcome to another fresh edition of our online class. This week, our topic is basic principles of government. That is, we will look at rule of law. That is, we get to know the meaning of the interpretation, the rule of law. That also we also know the supremacy of regular law, right to personal liberty, problems of application, fundamental human rights, social, political, and economic social, political, and economic. We also have access to information, means of safeguarding fundamental human rights, and limitation of fundamental human rights. So let's now look at the meaning of rule of law now. So when we're talking about rule of law is the absolute supremacy of predominance of the law over everybody, both rulers and the ruled, and all decisions taken in the country. That is, when we're talking about rule of law, that is, it is the way we are governed, both the citizens that are being governed on and those people that make the law. That is a supremacy of predominance of the law over everybody. That is, law is above anybody. That is, either the president or a normal citizen, the law above every one of us. And according to a professor even say a professor of English law who developed and popularized the phrase rule of law in his book titled Introduction to the Law of the Constitution, published in 1885. Those entrusted with the administration of a country should rule or exercise their authority in accordance with the established law of the land, and such established law should be regarded as supreme. The phrase has other phrases like that no citizen can be punished except as prescribed by the law, which means that no one can punish without trial. The law must be known to everybody, so to all citizens and all decisions taken in the country. What I'm trying to say here is just that is, when I'm talking about supremacy, that is something that is supreme, something that is above anybody. Law is something that is something that is supreme, is above all citizens. And when I'm talking about this law, that is, nobody can just trespass, or nobody can just be raided, or nobody can just try to ride anybody, because there is a law. There is something that we call legal law. That is, it must have a legal backing. Also, the law must be known to all citizens and decision taken in the country. That is, before something can become a law, it will have been written. That's why we are having constitution. We know we are having different kind of types of constitution. We have written, we have unwritten, we have rigid, and we have flexible. That is, if something wants to be taken in a country, there must be a law that will back it. Also, the law, which means that no one can be punished without trial. That is, there is nobody that can be punished without given a trial. Let's look at the main principles and features of rule of law. Number one is supremacy of the law. That is, it means that the law of a state is supreme or higher than anybody in the state. A citizen is deemed innocent until proved guilty by the law court. Anybody who is arbitrarily arrested and detained for more than 24 hours can apply to the law court for a writ or habeas corpus. That is, there is supremacy of law. Law is above either the president, the senate president, the governor. Law is above anybody. And the constitution of Nigeria says that anybody that is being detained, maybe in police station, and the person should spend more than 24 hours, that the person can charge those people that arrested him or her to court. That is, the supremacy of law. Law is above everybody. There's no one that can just go against the rules and regulations of the country. So there is supremacy of what? Supremacy of law. So that is, a citizen is deemed innocent until proved guilty by what? By a law court. That is, you cannot just, especially whereby that's why you see people that they arrest, they will call them suspect, because they are not the culprit, or they are not the offender until they are found what? They are found guilty. Also, we also have equality before the law. That is, it means that nobody is above the law. I think I've explained this. Everybody are all equal. Since we are citizens of a particular country, there is nobody that is above the law. The law is no respecter of persons, irrespective of the position, indices, views. All men are equal before the law of the land. That is, all men are what? Are equal. That is, there is nobody that is bigger than anybody. We are all equal when it comes to what? When it comes to law. All citizens of a country should enjoy equal access to law facilities, equal rights to fair hearing, legal advices in the court of law. These principles assumes the notion of legality, which means due process of law in dealing with offenders. Also, number 3, we have the right of the individual. That is, the principle states that citizens of a country should enjoy certain basic inalienable rights and liberties under the law, violation of which they have the right to seek redress in a law court, which has the exclusive jurisdiction to handle such cases according to the constitution. That is, the right of individual. Everybody have his or her own right. That's it. Nobody can just say. That's why we call it fundamental human right. A situation whereby I can express my feelings, I can express my mind. So there's fundamental human rights. That is, everybody has an individual right. Other principles and features of the rules of law are: number 1, also we also have absolute supremacy or dominance of law over everybody in the land. That is, supremacy of the law. We also have access to legal facility. That is, we have access to legal facility. There's a situation whereby someone wants to ride you. You have your own right to challenge the person, or you have your right to take the person to court. Also, provision of the constitution. That is, this one is something that is very important. You know, a situation whereby there is in Nigeria, for instance, now, is a part of a particular thing that people obey is what is the constitution. That's why don't forget I said we have written constitution, we have unwritten constitution, and we have rigid and flexible constitution. Also, fair hearing. That is, there should be fair hearing. That is, the judiciary should not be biased. That is, they should take law according to the way it is. Also, the law should be made in public. That is, law should be made in public, not in private. That is, every one of the citizens should enjoy or should see what is going on in a particular country. Also, right to appeal. That is, there is right for every individual to appeal. Maybe there's a case that is going on in court and the person is not okay with it. The person has the right to appeal. Also, backdating of laws. We have backdating of laws. We have there should be no government or censorship or influence of the press. That is, government should not try to take absolute control over the press. That is, the press, we are talking about the media, they should have freedom to say what is right, to say what is wrong, not that it is the government that will be controlling it. And these things happen in most of the radio station and TV station owned by the government. You know, if it is a station, if it's a government radio station or TV station, they won't have free access to express, or they won't want to say something against the current government, because they know that there may be an implication on that. Also, we also have punishment must agree with offense committed. That is, punishment must be agreed. That is, a situation where, let's say someone kill another person now, let's say they will give that particular person a life imprisonment, or they will sentence that person to death. Let's look at the problems of application of the rule of law. That is, the concept of rule of law is limited in terms of application because of the following. Number 1, immunity provision. That is, certain category of public office holders like the president, diplomat, judges, legislatures, etc. may not be sued in the law court while the tenure of the respective office lasts. In the international law, foreign diplomats are not tried under the laws of their host countries. Also, we also have customs and tradition. That is, the practice of some people in terms of custom and tradition may hinder the full enjoyment of people's rights. This limits the working of the rule of law. That is, we are talking about custom and tradition. That is, some people try to practice some they have their cultures or tradition, and it may affect those people that want to embark on a law. Also, we also have delegate legislation. That is, the delegation of law making part to some bodies other than legislature often brings about complexity of law and the abuse of such power, which may lead to violation of fundamental human rights of the citizen without the opportunity to seek redress. That is, a situation whereby someone cannot try to express him or herself. They are using veto power on citizens. Also, we also have administrative tribunals. That is, this quasi-judiciary may not give rooms for fair judgment, fair hearing, protection of human rights, and the right to exercise appeal against erroneous judgment due to the fact that the tribunals are not legal courts. The members will not have full legal knowledge. That is, this set of people, they may want to be biased. They may not want to listen to. They may want to not to give room for fair judgment or fair hearing, since this administrative tribunals, they are not back up with what, with government, because they may just give judgment that will not please the citizens. Also, we also have illiteracy and ignorance. Illiteracy and ignorance and object poverty. Where there is high level of illiteracy, many will be ignorant of their rights or how to get redress when such rights are violated. That is, this thing common among we citizens. That is a situation whereby someone does not know much about law, someone that is an ignorant or is an illiterate, he or she will not know whether something is right or a right. Also, we also have red tapism. That is, unduly long process and procedures involved in justice and administration often delay in dispensation. It is said that justice delay is just denied. A great number of suspects languish in detention for years without being tried in the law court. Let's look at the factors that ensure the operation of the rule of law. Number one, we have independent judiciary, we have press freedom. That is, there will be liberty, there will be freedom for the press. We also have the law to be kept open. We also have quick dispensation of justice. We have a period of detention. That is, a suspect must not spend more than 24 hours in detention. Period of detention. We also have public trial. We have power separation to seek redress. To seek redress in court. That's number 8. Number 9, democracy, and number 10, we have right to appeal. Let's now look at the meaning of fundamental human rights now. We are talking about fundamental human rights. Rights may be defined as a certain privilege that every citizen enjoys in a country, irrespective of sex, tribe, or creed. That is, I think I have explained this earlier. That is, it is, when we are talking about rights, it is privilege. That is, it is what can I call it? Opportunities, or something that that is your right, that every citizen enjoys in the country, irrespective of your sex, your tribe, or that's something that that this thing is my right. That's fundamental human right. Something that it is something that you ought to do, that that you are standing on your on your right. The state has the right to protect and guarantee these rights. Fundamental human rights are usually contained in the constitution of a country, and they must be respected and protected as far as the state exists, and recognize such rights in a democratic society. Let's look at civic rights now. We are talking about civil rights. What are the civil rights? Number 1 is right to life. That is, this means that every human being has right to what? To live. Number 2, we have right to personal liberty. That is, this recognizes freedom from unlawful arrest, intimidation, and detention. That is, there should be right to personal liberty. That is, there should be freedom. They should not just arrest people anyhow without any strong evidence against that particular person. We also have right to dignity of human persons. That is, dignity of the individual person should be respected. We also have, another one is right to fair hearing. That is, all citizens who are alleged of any offences must be given the right to add in court. This will enable the suspect to defend him or herself in a court of law. That is, this fair hearing is just a situation whereby someone is being caught as a suspect. If they take the person to court, it is the court that will decide whether the person is guilty or not. We also have right to freedom of movement. All citizens in the country should be equal. Rights of freedom of movement from one part of the country to the other. That is, there is freedom of movement. We also have right to freedom from slavery. That citizens of a democratic state must be free from any form of slavery and forced labor, which may lead to denial of their right. And the last one is right to freedom of speech or expression and publication. That is, this one is talking about the press, the media. That is, there should be there should be freedom of freedom of speech, ability to express yourself without fear or without any hindrance from anybody. That's it. This implies freedom to say or hear one's opinion without restriction or censor, slander, or libel. That is, it's ability to just say what's in your mind. This thing is common on social and what is it called? And our press. When I'm talking about the press, I'm talking about the media. That is the electronic and the print media. That is a situation whereby you express yourself without anybody charging you or without the fear of any top government. Let's look at social rights now. Number 1 is right to education. That is, this means right to enjoy basic education. That is social right. Now, for instance, now as we are in Nigeria now, we have some right to education. That is, everybody have right to enjoy normal basic education, like all these schools For instance, this it is the responsibility of this government of the government to build schools for students, or it's the responsibility of the government to try to cut the what is it called, to cut the school fees of students. Also, we also have right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. That is, every human being has right to any religion of his or that is, if, for instance, now, as I'm saying now, I'm just decided now, maybe tomorrow, I want to be a Christian. Nobody can challenge me or query me for that. So that is, everyone we have what every human being we have right to any religion of his choice. In addition to enjoy of freedom to enjoyment of freedom of thought and conscience. Also, number 3, we have right to private and family life. That this means that every human being is entitled to enjoy family life without any disturbance. That is, anybody you are free since it's your family. Nobody can try to query you or challenge you. And the last one is right to social life and social amenities. It means that the citizens have the right to live together and free to enjoy facilities as provided by the government, like water, electricity, education, community health facilities, etc. That is, this right social life and social amenities, that is, the citizens have the right to enjoy any social amenities being provided to the citizens in his or country, or it may be your community or your state, like pipe-borne water, good road, and the likes. So let's look at political right now. That is, right to vote and to be voted for. We call this one franchise. That is a situation whereby you have the access to vote, and they can also vote for you. This means you can vote and be voted for. You can vie for any public office, or exercise voting right by voting for any candidate of your choice. That is a situation whereby you have the right to vote, and let's say you can also you can be seeking for a particular position. It may be a chairman, governor, and the likes. That's a privilege. That's a fundamental human right, as a citizen of a particular country. Number 2, right to serve in any public office. That is, you have the right to serve in any public office. Number 3, we have right to criticize the government. That is, this must be constructive and not destructive or abusive. Right to join any political party. That is, this right to criticize the government. That is, it must be constructive. That is, it must not be something that you will be abusing. That is, a situation whereby you have a governor in your state and he or she is not doing well. You have the right to try to tell him that, okay, Mr. Governor, these are the things, these are what you are doing that is not good, and not in an abusive manner. That you tell him or her in a good manner so that he or she will listen to you. Number 4 is right to join any political party of your dad. That is, you have, for instance, now I may belong to party A, and tomorrow I may just stand up and I may wake up and say I'm going to party B. Nobody can crucify me for that. And the last one here is right to freedom of peaceful and assembly and association. So let's look at economic rights now. That is, right to own property. Every human being has the right to aspire to actually own property. Number 2, right to gainful employment. That is, it means right to work in any part of the country. Right against compulsory acquisition of property without adequate compensation. And the last one is right to establish any legitimate business of your choice. That is, and the right to establish any legitimate business of your choice. And the last one, right to use resources. Every citizen has equal access to use natural, financial, human, and material resources in the country, since it is something that is, since we are the citizens of the world, of the country. So let's move to the next one now. And the next one is limitations to citizen rights. Limitation to citizen rights. That is, number 1, right to life can be limited by criminal being executed through due process of law, war, disease, riot, disaster, etc. Number 2, right to dignity of human person can be limited by law enforcement agents, brutality, ignorance, illiteracy, government's power, insanity, religion, culture, disaster, poverty, etc. Number 3 is right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion can be restricted by the type of government in power, especially phases of totalitarianism government always restrict freedom. Number 4 is right to education by limited by the type of government in power, poverty or disease or police brutality. And the last one is right to peaceful assembly. Association can be limited by war, state of emergency, disease, violence, law on cultism and secret societies, etc. So I think that's where we're going to end our class for this week. So you join me for another fresh topic next week. So but before you go, I think I would like to give you some class activities to be done. Number 1 is, what are the factors that hinder the full adherence to the principles of rule of law? Number 2, highlight 5 rights of citizens. Number 3, what are the limitations of these rights? Number 4, outline 4 major principles of the rule of law. So till next week, I still remain myself, Saeed Olaniyi. So stay blessed and stay safe. Bye bye.